All right, they finally did it in this episode. There's so many storylines finally tied up in episode 10, season 2 of the Charmed reboot. Let's talk about it. Hey everybody, welcome back to The Turnout. I'm your host, Aloy. Don't forget to check us out at USA Audiences, where you can sign up for special event and movie screening invites. So I feel like the writers of the show are really finding a hard time figuring out reasons for the sisters to not operate together. This episode joins a long line of episodes so far of this season where there are 5, 6, 7 different stories all going on at one time. But finally, we get some of them resolved in this episode somewhat. Quick warning for spoilers, and also don't forget to hit like, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification so you always know when the Turnout releases a new video. I got it all in one breath. So first off, let's talk about the A-plot. Jordan's birthday. It's finally his birthday. He's gonna turn 26 today. So they know for a fact that his life is in danger today. Maggie decides she's gonna hang out with him all day until it officially is no longer his birthday and she'll be able to save him. She actually has a premonition of like a sign falling on him when he blows out his candles, and she does. She like runs and like, pushes him down and gets him out of the way so he doesn't die there. And just when you think that that's the end of it all, you find out that no, there's actually the ghost of that witch who originally cursed their family is still after him and ends up possessing Swan, which Swan, first off, is adorable and I love her as a character. So for her to now change into this weird zombified, ghost-possessed, crazy, nasty-looking monster.
Who's the bad witch now?
I mean, kudos to the makeup people. You guys did an amazing job. I was scared of Swan, and it was really weird. But of course, Maggie was there, and she's been taking self-defense courses and can fight, so she takes out her baton and starts beating the hell out of the possessed Swan, traps her in a mirror, does a whole bunch of stuff, and tries to get away. Turns out what she really needed to do, and she figures it out at the end, was to give the spirit back its ring and talk her into like, hey, you're mad at his family for killing witches, but that means you can't kill us because then you're killing witches, and then what does that say about you? And the ghost goes, you know what? Man, you and your logic. And then that brings us to the curse was not actually lifted. The ghost says he has to make balance. And I think this was the reason why the ghost kept specifically saying how many witches died due to his family.
25 women.
And here's my prediction, is that making balance is he's going to have to save that many witches, which means now Jordan is going to have to join forces with the Charmed ones. He now knows about their hideout. He now knows about everything. Now he is going to have to team up with them to help them save more witches. And if he does that, then maybe that will make it balanced. And I thought that was pretty cool. And I think it's interesting that there is kind of a riddle to how to get rid of the curse. It's not just an immediate thing. So that makes it so that now he has to take a more active role in what's happening in the show, which is good because now it's not just going to be them messing with him. He's like, oh my God, all this stuff makes so much sense now. Yeah, so what do we do now?
Thank you for a memorable birthday.
His initial thing that is making him part of the Charmed world is now kind of over, and I'm happy. Like, he's no longer in danger from that. He doesn't have to live in fear anymore. And I thought that it was really cool justification for his character. He's like, I did all of these things with my life because I know that all of my family members die before they turn 26, so...
You know?
I wanted to experience as much as I could before I eventually died. And I was like, see, man, all of that just makes him so much cooler of a character. Seriously. I just don't get why it took until now for the writers to kind of write him in a way that he's, officially awesome again. Okay, so that was basically Maggie's storyline. So let's move on to Mel and Ray, because Ray pops back up and says, hey, I have information on my cellar, because Mel wanted him to get information on that. So Mel's like, all right, we're gonna go meet them because I want to know who they are and everything.
Those people think that I am dead for a reason. They are extremely dangerous.
Believe me, I know.
She gives him a crystal to give to them, and he also steals a bottle of black amber, which she told him was just a potion that didn't work. So he gets into the meeting, and they pull guns, and it's really tense and everything. And then you find out that Mel put a tracker on the crystal, so they're like, oh, well, we're gonna murder you now. And so she's like, so she melts their guns or whatever, and then they run away. But they got the black amber. And I think this is now another example of them kind of starting to kind of tie up a storyline. Maybe it's not completely tied up, but they're starting to tie up the storyline, which was what was so important about the black amber. Like, yes, it gave them back their powers, but they never really did a good job explaining what black amber was. So now we have these magical scientists who have been trying to find probably black amber. They're like, oh my god, this is black amber. And even Ray's like, what's that? So they take it back, and at the end, they use it to like start giving life to things, and it's like, oh, this is gonna be bad if bad magical scientists have life-giving things. That means they're probably gonna try and revive some ancient order of like demons or something. Like, who knows what's gonna happen? But I think that that's really good. That takes that important thing that you told us was important, but didn't actually explain why it was important, and showed us why it's important. So I really dug that. They also, with Mel asking Ray about his marriage to Marisol, kind of tie up how it was Macy, Mel, and then Maggie and Macy have the same dad.
You always knew.
And I thought that was really cool. They did a really good job in really kind of solidifying how that happened, and like, yes, she strayed, but then I strayed, and then like our whole marriage combusted.
One day, she fell back in love with another man, and Maggie came into our lives.
And again, does nothing but make him a little bit more sympathetic as a character, and I really dig Ray. I hope he sticks around. I feel like he is humanizing the Charmed ones a bit. They've been like really big in like survival mode for a while now, and I feel like his involvement kind of brings them back to be like, wow, like, hold on, family actually is important. Even if I'm mad at you, you're still my dad. And I like that. I think that that's really cool. So now the last storyline is Abigail is poisoned, so Harry's like, well, then let me go help you and I can heal you.
Abigail.
Help!
And Macy's like, I'm gonna come too, because I don't trust you with her. And then it turns out that Abigail was just pretending so that she could get Harry to come to her. And it was kind of an interesting kind of ploy, because she was taunting Macy the whole time, because she knows that Macy's into Harry. So she was taunting him the whole time. But also it was like, I like him for who he is. You're the one that wants him to be the dark Harry.
And maybe he enjoys being with someone who actually appreciates his goodness, instead of someone who wishes he were just a bit darker.
So what the hell's wrong with you? Why are you trying to hold him back? And I thought that their exchange was really, really powerful. And I think also started to solidify more of my theory, which is that she really is into Dark Harry and is projecting her feelings for Dark Harry onto Light Harry, even though so many people in the comments have said,
the showrunners have said that she's actually into Harry, but has projected her feelings on the Dark Harry.
And I'm like, I don't think so. What she's actually doing is she's denying her feelings for Dark Harry because she feels like that's the wrong choice. And that's why she doesn't want Harry to choose Abigail. She's like, why are you going after Abigail when she's evil? And again, this also comes back to the thing. It's just like, Abigail's like, do you not think that I have emotions? Do you not think I can feel love?
You really think it's impossible for me to actually care for your Boy Scout of a white lighter?
He's not exactly your type, Abby.
She's like, well, you're evil. And it's just like, again, she's a person. I don't understand it. For having demon in her, Macy is being very kind of single-minded on this topic, but that might be the demon part of her kind of exacerbating that jealousy and that envy. So there's that part too, so it could be something like that. But I actually thought that the scene between Abigail and Harry was pretty touching.
I see you for who you are. Screw the dark lighter in my eyes. You're whole
The whole, I like you for who you are whole in my eyes. And it was hard to tell whether she was saying that to manipulate him or if she really thinks that, because that's exactly the same thing she said to Macy when Harry was not there. So she could be using this relationship as a way to just kind of start breaking up the charmed ones with Harry, but at the same time, those feelings could also be genuine. I'm excited to see where that goes. There was also something that Harry mentioned. He was like, we need her to continue being the demon overlord because she's an ally and we need to keep our enemies closer and all that stuff. And Macy kept looking at him like, you just want her because you love her, or you want her because of sex or whatever. But honestly, strategically, that makes sense. Like, no witches have died since she took over. So again, it almost seems like she is acting as an ally there. But for how long? Because she does have Godric in her ear, and we do know that she's making other deals on the side with Godric. It's a whole weird, long mess with this show, and I actually kind of love how it's all intertwining itself. But there is a scene at the end of the episode where Harry and Macy finally have it out. He goes, you know damn well how I feel about you. You don't return my feelings, so why are you trying to ruin this thing for me?
Macy, I'll take care of my affairs. You take care of yours.
Why don't you go after that millionaire who also invited her to Aspen? Why don't you go after him? And she's like, I only went out with him to try and get him to not do the thing. And he's like, yeah, right. Like, go have a life, stop trying to ruin mine. And I was like, you know what? Good for you, Harry. I know a lot of people are like, Hasty for life, that's the end game. But like, no. You can't be acting all like this when he liked you and you spurned him. So now he's with somebody else and you're like, I want to ruin your thing because I want you now. And it's like, you only want him because he is now with somebody else and you don't like her. And that's just trifling, seriously. But honestly, this episode was so good. This episode answered so many questions, but also posed new ones. It was a great exploration of storytelling within the setting. And I think that it was successful because they kind of did take it slower in the earlier episodes. I know we did a lot of complaining here on the channel about like, we don't know anything, what the hell's happening, but all of that stuff was kind of setting up things like this episode where now they can be like, here's what that finally was. Here's finally how that happened. I really, really dug this episode, but I want to know what you guys thought of this episode, episode 10 of Charmed. Let me know about it down in the comments. Like and subscribe to the channel, hit that bell. Follow me on Twitter @TheTurnoutUSAA. And I've been your host, Aloy. This has been The Turnout. Thanks for showing up.